What's up guys, Ghost here, and today I'm going to be doing a little guide to help out new players of Star Citizen for patch 3.9. I myself have been a backer of this game since 2014, and throughout the years I can't tell you the number of times I've installed Star Citizen to see what's new, only to be met with a terrible frame rate, client crashes, server crashes, and also just generally not knowing what to do or where to go. And any number of these things have usually led me to simply blame the game and uninstall. Star Citizen really is piss poor at explaining things to you, it does have to be said, but luckily I can say that the Star Citizen community is one of the best I've encountered in any game. Everybody is just so helpful, and as a general rule of thumb, if you do log in and are lost in some way, just hit enter and ask the other players in your server. I've done this several times, people are super helpful, and I have never ever been met with any hostility. Okay, so with that said, let's get on to it. We're going to be covering all the three starting areas. We're going to cover Cockpit, New Babbage in Microtech, and also Lorville, so whichever starting zone you pick to spawn at. I'm going to explain to you guys how to find your ship, takeoff, and some general flight controls, landing, and some basic beginner tips for you guys to get started with the game. Alrighty guys, so here we are on Cockpit. We're going to be starting, if you choose, on this planet. I will go over Lorville and New Babbage a little bit later in the video, so if you want you can go and check the timestamps down below if that's where you spawned in. But for now, let's start with Cockpit. So your bunk bed is basically where you log out of the game. You can log out of the game in stations and cities. You can also log out in the bed of your ship. Now to get out of the bed, you can hit Y. This is a really good hotkey to learn because it basically lets you exit any seat in any sort of vehicle or any sitting position within the game. So once you've exited, you now want to go and open the door. Now the next key you're going to need to learn is F. So to bring up this interaction mode here, you hold F and things that are interactable will sort of pop up with a word there. Sometimes there's a number of options. And all you do once holding F is you click there. So now we're going to want to go and find the elevators so we can make our way downstairs. So at the moment we're basically just in the hotel, if you will, the habitation zone of Cockpit Area 18. So let's go and take the elevator here. So hold F again, click call elevator. Now here you'll see an example of having many options, so we want to go to the ground floor. Now once we get out this elevator on the ground floor, you may find your FPS is complete and total rubbish. That's pretty normal for this game, guys. Don't worry, even if you have a really good computer, an amazing rig. I have a pretty good rig, and as you can see, I'm only just hitting 30 FPS. Sometimes it's a lot worse than that here. That's something they're going to have to work on in-game. Don't worry too much about your rig. Hopefully, though, you will be able to... hopefully it will be, you know, standable. So as you come out of this area, you want to basically head into Cockpit Plaza. So I usually take a right here and go along this way. It may seem pretty busy, this area. A lot of distractions, a lot of shops you can go in, and you can come back later and visit all of these shops and areas, but for now I would recommend just taking this route. And over here you'll see a sign that says City Flight Transit. You want to go down there. There are quite a lot of signs in this game directing you where to go, so you really want to pay attention. Now on the left side we have the convention center, on the right side you have the Area 18 spaceport, so obviously you want to go there. And we're going to have to take a little monorail ride here. So if you check up here, it should say Area 18 Plaza. That's the area, that's where we are now. That's not the destination of this platform. I think, actually, does it say the destination somewhere? I'm not sure. I thought it did at some point, but I can promise you this is the right direction to the spaceport. Anyway, it says tram arriving in 20 seconds here. Okay, so here's the tram. You step on board and basically you wait until it gets to the other end of the line, and then you will be at the spaceport where we can get a little bit closer to picking up whatever ship you have chosen whilst purchasing the game. couple of other controls on here. You may not be running or walking at this speed. You may be kind of walking like this when you spawn into the game, instead of actually running around and being able to sprint. Simply scrolling up the mouse wheel increases your walking speed or your running speed. So that's a good one to know. You can also hit escape, of course, go into options, go into key bindings, and take a look at the extensive key binding list here. I know it is a little bit overwhelming. There are a hell of a lot of controls to learn. Here we have flight. If you click down here in this menu and go over to on foot, then you can see here on the mouse wheel it says default movement speed increase and decrease. Yeah, there really are a lot of different controls, so a lot of people look at this screen and then they just look straight away, you know, they wonder what does this AC mean here. A lot of keys have modifiers, so that you can see the blue key is a modifier, that's for advanced camera controls. But I digress. I'm going to show you guys the controls you need to know as we go along here. So here we are at the spaceport. So now you basically need to make your way through customs, and you need to find a flight terminal where you can choose your ship and have it sent to one of the hangars or one of the landing pads. So you look around here, it may be a little bit confusing as to which way to go. Basically, just carry on following any signs for customs and make your way through here. And once you see these terminals here that say vehicle retrieval, you want to go up to one of those, hold F again, click on use, and then you can select whichever ship you chose when you bought your account. Now for you, it's most likely going to be the Aurora or the Mustang or possibly the Aegis Titan. I don't have any of those, but it doesn't matter, your ship will be shown on this screen. So the information panel here basically tells you the status of your ship, so all three of my ships are stored. However, only one of them at the moment is at Area 18. My Aegis Gladius is not stored anywhere because it recently got destroyed, so I can go ahead and retrieve that. My Freelancer is at this wide forest station here, so if I wanted to take this ship, I would have to click here on claim first, and then as you can see it's telling me here I'll have to wait 60 minutes and 15 seconds. Once you file the claim, you can actually expedite the claim and pay with some credits to have this timer go quicker here. But we're not going to do that, so we're going to click the back arrow. We're going to go ahead and take my Anvil Hornet here, so click the retrieve button. And in a second it should tell us what hangar we need to go to. Sometimes it takes longer than other times. There we go, hangar 3. So to get out of the screen, there isn't really any sort of exit button or anything. You just basically walk backwards and back away from it. Now, a lot of the time, it will tell you that you need to go to hangar 3, and then you'll maybe spend some time walking around, get a little bit lost, and by the time you find the hangars, you've actually forgotten which hangar you needed to go to. So if you do ever forget, you can come back here to the use screen, and you'll see here it tells us that our Anvil Hornet is in Area 18 and it is at hangar 3. So you can always double check with the screen there. So now you want to go ahead and find the hangars. Here's a sign for hangar elevators. So we're going to go along here. Here's another sign telling us they are to the right. And another sign there, hangars. So we're going to go ahead and call the elevator here. Generally anything you can interact with will have a sort of glow around it like that. So it's pretty easy. Once you are on here, you basically just choose whichever hangar you want. You can zoom in and out, by the way, if you hold F for the interaction mode. Scrolling the mouse wheel whilst holding F will zoom in or out, just if things are a little bit too big or too small. And here we are. Here is our Anvil Hornet. Hey, sorry guys, just wanted to add this in whilst I was editing the video here. So obviously you guys have just seen how to get from Area 18 to your ship, and if you are spawning in Area 18 and you don't care about how to get from Lorville or New Babbage, then you can skip over the next couple of sections of the video. I'll put timestamps down below so you can continue right where we left off with how to actually control your ship and fly it. But of course, if you are somebody who has spawned in at Lorville or New Babbage, then continue watching to find out how to make your way from those locations. Alrighty guys, so here we are at Lorville. So if you choose this spawn location, I'm going to show you guys how to get out of here and go and find your ship. So it's going to be much the same deal as in area 18, only this time we have to get to Tisa Spaceport, which is nicely advertised up there in the skyline. Okay, so you'll see a sign right at the end there that says exit. You may not be on this level. You may have to come up the staircase first, depending on which habitation pod you spawn in. So we're going to hold F here and click on call elevator. And then we are going to go ahead and select the ground floor. Okay, from here we are going to need to go and find our way to the metro station, because it's Tisa Spaceport is too far away for us to simply walk there. So you're going to be outside here in the nice fresh air. Wow, I'm just noticing the amazing graphics of whatever sludge is coming out of those pipes, guys. That I could see they've put a lot of work into that. No, that's obviously placeholder, as are many things in this game at the moment. So let's make our way up this staircase here. And sooner or later, there you go, you'll see a sign for the metro. Just follow that. And once you get down here, you'll have a number of different directions you can go. So this one is saying Spaceport Line, that is to the right. This is where you have a decision to make. If you go on the right way, this will take you on the perimeter line, and the left side is for the spaceport. So you want to take a left here. Of course, when you get a bit more into the game, you know, feel free to come back and explore Lorville and the rest of the places in the game. Well, that was lucky. The tram is, or the metro, is just arriving just as we are here. So now you basically just chill around for a while. You can you have a seat on these? Yes, you can. Some of these you can sit on, some of them you can't. And I will see you guys at the other end of the line. I do like the fact in Lorville that everything is very industrial here. It's a very sort of grubby and black. You can even see on the windows here how much dust and, I don't know, coal and whatever debris is built up on them. All just adds to the feel of this grimy, industrial part of the universe. It's a bit like Birmingham, really. If anybody watching from the UK. Okay, so here we are. So once you've gotten over to the spaceport, you basically want to just head not in that direction. You want to head to the side that says exit. That's the way you want to go. And you basically just follow your way through the customs area. I haven't really been to Lorville too often, to tell you the truth. It doesn't actually seem to be lagging very much for me at the moment, but I've heard it's notoriously laggy, so I've always tried to avoid Lorville. So you'll see a lot of sort of consoles and guys standing around and restricted areas. At the moment, as far as I know, none of those things really do anything. You know, this whole customs area, you basically just pass through here. The only interactable thing on the way is the fines and citations payment system, which you can use to basically pay your fines. And since I don't have any, I will not be doing that today. So here we are now entering Tisa Spaceport. Welcome. And here we have a nice, is that an I-50? No, it's an M50 rather, interceptor on display. And you can actually buy that for the small price of almost 1.2 million credits. So there you go. Anyway, we're going to come over to the vehicle retrieval console, just like we did in Area 18. I'm not going to walk you guys through this again, as you already saw it over there. So you basically just go retrieve your ship. Well, you know what, we may as well, let's just, since we have our Hornet here, we may as well go and retrieve it. And then I can actually show you guys where the elevators are. So Hangar 9. Now we need to find the elevators. I think elevators to hangars this way and this way. I'm going to go this way. So here are the elevators. So you call your elevator. Once you're inside, you hit Hangar 9. And there we go. there is our Anvil Hornet. Okay guys, I am going to head over to the third and final destination of New Babbage on Microtech, and I will show you guys, if you happen to spawn there, how you can find your ship. Alright guys, so here we are in New Babbage on Microtech. If you happen to spawn in this location, I'm going to show you guys how to get to your ship. So first of all, congratulations on, in my opinion, spawning in on the most beautiful planet. This is a new location in the game at the moment, so taking the view right over there, in fact, is the spaceport. So we are going to actually be taking a ride on this monorail right outside the window here. So as usual, you guessed it, you're going to go and find the elevator. You can see these elevators are a little bit more swanky and professional looking than the bog standard ones you find in the rest of the game. Alrighty, so you will probably notice there is no lobby here. You just have to make sure that you actually scroll down with your mouse wheel and then hit lobby. You'll probably hear I'm kind of spamming the keypad there a few times. For some reason, when you don't do that and you just click it once, it doesn't seem to register that you've actually told the elevator to go there. So I just like to spam it a couple of extra times for good luck. Okay, so when we come out of the elevators, we are going to take a right, or I suppose it may be a left if you come down one of those elevators. And you're going to look for this sign that says the MT Metro Loop. That is the monorail that I was talking about. We're going to head down here. Once again, you've got two directions you can go. You can go to the Commons, or we can go to the spaceport. So we're going to take a left here, and we're going to wait for the train to arrive. And on we go. So you can see it's pretty much the same, you know, depending on the three starting zones that you spawn in at. Now you guys may be wondering to yourselves, you know, every time you want to dock your ship, are you going to have to go through this whole process of docking, taking an elevator, you know, then taking a monorail or a train ride into the main district to go and do your shopping or do whatever you need to do in that particular location? Well, if you come back to New Babbage, Area 18 or Lorville, then you will have to do that. But on the other hand, if you basically are just staying out of the main hub areas and you're just landing at space stations, Port Olisar and places like that, most of those places don't have sort of central city hubs outside of the main space station. So wherever you actually land your spaceship, pretty much right outside the hangar doors is the shopping area, the trading consoles, everything you pretty much need to access. So you won't have to go through this process as many times as you see me doing it here in the video. Alright, so here we are, same thing again, head for the exit, we are simply going to make our way through the customs. Oh, in fact, this one is a little bit different here. Once you exit out of the Metro Loop, you actually have to take an elevator up into the customs. So once you get in this elevator, the MBIS terminal, that is actually the name of the spaceport in New Babbage, so that's what you want to head for. Okay. So up the stairs, or down the stairs rather, and here we are in the customs area. Looks very futuristic around here, but we're going to make our way through here. Once again, we don't have to stop for anything, we don't have to pay any fines, and unless you've been up to no good, then you shouldn't have to either. Going up this staircase, you can now get a view of the city from the other side of the monorail track. So we were in one of these high-rises over here when we woke up. We've now made our way along this monorail. We are now at the spaceport. So over this side, this is probably worth showing you guys, actually. There are ship rentals. So the hangars are over that way, as you can see clearly signposted. If you guys want to just check this out quickly with me, you can rent ships in the game. So if you're not sure if you want to outright buy a ship, whether that's on the pledge store for real money or with credits within the game, you can actually rent ships and here you can choose like how long you want to rent them for. And yeah, you know, I think there are different ships to rent in different locations, but this is where you can do that. Okay, so let's head across here and go over to the hangars. And here you have the ship retrieval console. So just like I showed you guys at ArcCorp, you do the same thing here, you know, go ahead, retrieve your ship, and it will tell you. In fact, we have our freelancer here at New Babbage, so I can go ahead and retrieve that one. And there we go, hangar number 3. I'm not going to do this again to show you guys, but you call the elevator and then you tell it to go to hangar 3, and there you go. You will find your ship. So first things first, we actually want to get on board the ship. Now this ship is only a one-seater. It doesn't have any cargo room, so to speak of, so there isn't like a back hatch. Your ship, if you get the Aegis Titan or the Aurora, it may have a hatch at the back here that you can lower down and gain entry to the ship that way. If you've taken the Mustang, you're going to be gaining entry in pretty much the same way that I can here, so hold F and click enter pilot seat. I will say, whilst these little animations are going on, try not to sort of mess around pressing keys in between there, because I have had times where things can just glitch out a little bit. Like I have the hatch, the overhead hatch here, randomly opening by itself, and that's something to do with you entering the cockpit and then pressing other commands whilst the animation is taking place. Okay, so now we're in the cockpit. You hit R on your keyboard, and that will make your ship completely flight ready. So that turns on your power, and it also turns on your engines. Now, if you want to turn those off, you'll notice that if I hit R on the keyboard, it does nothing, because it only makes your ship flight ready. If you want to turn off your engines, you hit the I key.
Engines offline.
And if you want to turn off your power, then you hit the U key.
Weapons offline.
And then if we want to exit the cockpit here, we can hit Y, which I will show you guys later on. We're not going to right now because we want to take off, so let's get flight ready again. And before we can actually take off out of the hangar, we need to ask the customs, or we need to ask the guys basically to open up the hangar and let us out of here. So there are two ways of doing this. You can hit F1 to bring up your Mobiglass and come down here to the comlink, come up here to friends, and you will see Area 18 landing services, or the landing services for wherever you happen to be, and you can click this little button here. Alternatively, if you go into the interactive mode here, you'll notice you'll have several screens in your ship. Now these screens may be in different places depending on the ship you have, but the different panels that you can display here are basically the same. So I'm going to zoom in a little bit. Oh, I forgot to mention, by the way, if you want to change which panel is being displayed here, you just click on menu, and then you can select each of these sort of modular screens to display whatever you want. And if you click comms down there, you can also access the Area 18 landing services this way. So click that.
You are clear to launch.
And there we go. They've told us we're clear to launch now. Now this is a vertical takeoff hangar by the looks of it. Some hangars you fly straight out the front. Some of them you take off vertically. It just depends. So we're going to wait until that thing fully opens up, because we don't want to go clip our wings on the way up there. And basically, when you're ready, you just hit spacebar a little bit. Now, if you're worrying about, is my ship going to hit the sides, you can hit F4, and you can go into third-person mode. As you can see here, we have plenty of clearance, so we're pretty much good to go. Okay, so once you've gotten up in the air like this, you basically want to take your landing gear away. So if you hit N on your keyboard, that will pack away your landing gear. Let's hit F4 now and go back into the cockpit. So basically holding W will increase your speed. Holding S will decrease your speed, and indeed put your thrusters in reverse. A and D strafe you to the left and to the right. Q will spin you to the left, and E will spin you to the right. And basically space is strafe up, and control is strafe down. So once you get the hang of these controls, things are pretty easy. And then of course you can always simply look with your mouse. Now the further away your sort of gimbal mount is, this circular icon here that you can see moving around is your gimbal cursor, and then in the middle you have your fixed cursor. The further this gimbal one is away from the fixed cursor in the middle, the quicker we are actually going to turn. So once you want to stop turning, so you're in a bit of a spin like this, you just bring your cursor back to the middle there and you'll stop completely. So let's go ahead and take off here. So I'm holding W right now and just simply using the mouse to aim upwards, and we're going to pull up out of the atmosphere. Now, you will notice here on the left side, you'll see a little whitish, greeny whitish bar there. That is your speed, and it says 191. Now, if you want to increase your speed, just like with the run-walk thing before, you can simply scroll up on the mouse wheel, and that basically sets your speed threshold. So you can see now our speed is slowly starting to increase, and you can put that all the way up to the top. This is basically just so if I scroll down here, you'll see if I bring it all the way down there, now it's lowered my speed to a maximum of 59. Even if I'm holding W, it's not going to go above that. You can also hold shift, and that will activate your afterburners if you want a quick speed boost. And to the top left there, you can see our altitude, which is almost coming up on 10,000 meters. So if we go in third person mode here, you'll notice we're pretty much coming out of the atmosphere of the planet right now. Pretty beautiful scene. One more tip about speed control is if you hit C on your keyboard, that will actually engage your cruise control. So now you can see the little arrow on the left next to my speed limiter. So it will essentially just keep your speed wherever the speed limiter is set to, which is quite handy if you're far away from somewhere. Now I can just take my hands off the keyboard. I don't have to hold W down all the time, just like with a car, you know, in real life. Alright guys, so we are up and away from the planet now. We're high up enough that we can use our quantum drive to quantum travel, and you're probably wondering where can you actually go in this game. So if you hit F2 on your keyboard, it will bring up the star map in your Moby glass, and you can see here that we are around Area 18. Now, if we zoom out here so we can take a proper look at the system of Stanton, you've got 5 planets going around here. This orbit is Arccorp, where we are currently. On the outermost ring, you have Microtech, which is where New Babbage is, which I will show you guys in a sec if you happen to spawn there. On the next one, you have Delamar, which is like a planetoid. The next ring in from there, you have Crusader, where there is a port called Port Olisar, which actually used to be the initial starting zone for everybody. So it was much simpler then because you didn't have to mess around with elevators. And then on the closest ring here, closest to the star, we have Hurston, which is where Lorville is located, which is the 3rd starting zone. Alright guys, so just to show you guys how you can travel around the verse, let's go and say we want to go to Port Olisar, which was the old starting zone which orbits around the planet of Crusader. There's 2 ways to do this. So you can scroll with your mouse wheel like this. If you hold right click, you sort of just look around the universe. If you hold left click, it sort of pivots and tilts the map, so I don't really use that one. I kind of like this view the best. You can also just double click Crusader and it will zoom in there, and right now we can see Crusader's moons. If you needed to go to any of those for a mission or whatever, you can see the comm array, which is orbiting around Crusader, and you can see Port Olisar. So if we click on Port Olisar, click set route, and here you can see it's basically planned out our route for us. So you can see also in the top left here, the first leg of the journey is to quantum leap or quantum jump to Crusader, and then to OM5, and then from there we are going to go to Port Olisar. So you can't just quantum jump directly to everywhere in the verse. Sometimes you have to take a roundabout way of getting there. Alright, so now we've set our waypoint in the map. You'll see that little map that I have within the cockpit right down here. We sort of have a line protruding out of there. What you want to do is line up your cockpit with that line. You'll also notice here at the top of the screen, there's this little arrow, and now it's turned into that circle, and that's telling us exactly where we want to go. So you want to look for that as your destination, and then to spool up your quantum drive, you hit B on the keyboard, and basically you wait until it calibrates. The bigger the ship you have, the longer this calibration time is going to take. Once you're calibrated and you're locked onto your destination, then you want to hold B.
Quantum drive is now on.
And there we go, guys. We are getting away from Arcup. So this will take some time, quantum traveling all the way over to Crusader, so I'm going to cut this quantum travel trip out in the video, and I will see you guys once we get over there. Alright guys, so here we are, we're coming up on Crusader now, coming to the end of our quantum travel. So you'll notice now, once that trip is finished, we've got a cooldown on the right side of the screen there. You do have a small cooldown depending on the size of your ship once again, once you exit quantum travel. So now we just carry on with the next leg of the journey. Next we have to go over to OM5. So same thing again, just hit B, wait for everything to calibrate, and then hold B again. And one more to go, let's head over to Port Olisar.
Quantum drive is now off.
Alright guys, so here we are at Port Olisar. Now, while we are flying in here and closing the gap a little bit, I just want to show you guys, before we actually land here, some of the third person controls. So as I mentioned before, if you hit F4, you will go into third person mode. If you use your normal controls, you'll just control your ship as you normally would in first person. But if you want to sort of have a look around, what you can do is press Z. That will then decouple the camera from your ship essentially and just let you look around. You can sort of check your ship out underneath. But of course, your mouse will now cease to actually control your ship. So if you hit Z again, you'll be back in control. So what you can do is sort of hit Z, move the camera to whatever angle you want, let's say like this, hit Z again, and now the mouse is back to controlling the ship around. So if you're ever a bit lost, like, wow, why can't I control my ship? Why is my camera moving around? It's probably the Z key. It does the same thing in first person as well. So if you hit Z here, you know, I can just free look around. And then if I hit Z again, it just pings back to the middle there. The same thing goes for if you're walking around on foot. So let's say you've come over to Port Olisar. Maybe, you know, it doesn't really matter where you go. Wherever you're going in the game, if it's an actual station of sorts, you're going to have to land here. And unless you're just landing on like a barren planet, you're going to have to ask and request docking permission. So you basically do that in the same way I showed you guys when you took off. You can either come down here to comms, or you can hit F1 and go in the mobiGlas. Let's maybe do it that way this time, just to show you guys that. So down here to comlink, go to friends, and click the little button there on Port Olisar landing services.
Please proceed to assigned landing bay.
And there we go, he's assigned us a landing bay, and you'll see that little wrench icon appears over there. That's what you want to head for. That's basically where you are supposed to land. That's your designated landing spot. If you land on the wrong landing spot, your ship can be impounded. So make sure you do, you know, follow protocol and actually go to where the wrench is. And depending in sort of the direction that you've approached, wherever you're landing from, it might take a bit of monkeying around here. As you can see, the landing pad is sort of facing up this direction, so we kind of want to get our ship a little bit centered here. So we're going to spin it around. I'm going to hold control now just to get down a little bit further. Honestly, if you're new to Star Citizen, a good idea is to actually scroll down on the mouse wheel and limit your speed to something like this. So now you can see, even though I'm holding W, I'm moving very slowly. There's somebody else who's just taken off, it looks like, or is maybe coming into land. Yeah, they're coming into land, I think. Okay, so next thing, hit N, and bring down your landing gear.
Landing gear deployed.
And basically what you want to do is just get within this green box. Now there's two ways of doing this. You can just simply land yourself, so I could just hold control now and just sort of strafe down and land myself. Alternatively, if you go back in the cockpit here and you hold N,
Autopilot.
then you have like an autopilot for the landing as well. I have heard some people say that this can mess up from time to time and basically just destroy your ship. I've never had it happen to me, and sometimes I use it because it's just kind of comfortable. Once you get close enough, you just hold N and that's it, job's done. So now we're going to hit I to turn off our engines and U to turn off our power, and then we're going to hit Y here, which, as I mentioned at the start of this video, will get you out of your bed and also your cockpit. Okay, so there we are. We don't have to worry about our ship now. We can leave it there for now. And basically, depending on where you've landed, you have to find the way off the hangar or the landing pad inside. Most places will have an elevator where you need to sort of go up from the hangar to the main area. And, you know, if you're going to... Oops, we opened and closed by accident there. This place has an airlock that you have to cycle here. I don't know what that... There's something banging around. You guys hear that? I have no idea what that is. But I'm going to go and just show you guys what happens to your ship once it lands. Because a lot of people in this game, you know, they've paid money to get access to the game and they've selected their ship. And really they feel like they've paid money sort of for the ship, right? Okay, so if we go on use here, you'll now see that our Anvil Hornet is on the pad. It's on pad B08. And we actually have the option to store it here. So if I click store... There we go. It's now stored. And if I come out of the screen, you'll notice that a little cursor showing me where my ship is has now disappeared. You don't have to come to this screen and store it by any means. It will be automatically stored. So if you're coming here and you just want to nip into a shop, let's say you want to come here and you need to buy some water, right, to hydrate yourself, and then you want to go right back to your ship. You don't want to have to store the ship and then come over to the retrieval console and retrieve it again and la-da-da, you know, you just want to be able to get straight back in there. But if you leave it sitting on the pad for a few minutes, they will automatically store it for you. And if you happen to have put it on the wrong pad, there's another player at the moment. If it's on the wrong pad, it can get impounded and you will have to pay to get it out. Anyway, guys, I hope this has been insightful. I know it's not super in-depth or anything, but hopefully now you guys realize a little bit just, you know, how to get from A to B, how to travel around the universe. That's really the biggest thing that you have to understand in the game. Then you can start doing missions and mining and trading and doing all the things that you want to do in the game. So leave me your thoughts and comments down below. If you run into any problems, just hit me up down there and feel free to ask me. I'm sure there's also going to be some experienced players watching this video at the moment. So if you guys have anything you want to add to this video, bear in mind it is for brand new players, then leave those comments down below as well. Also, don't forget, guys, if you are thinking about backing Star Citizen and getting yourself a game package, don't forget to use my referral code that you can find down in the description for 5,000 free in-game credits. Anyway, hopefully somebody out there found this useful. Have a good day, guys. Subscribe for more Star Citizen, and I'll see you all in the next one. Cheers.